What a week it's been. We will always remember where we were when we got the earth-shattering news. Luka Dončić was headed to the Los Angeles Lakers.
Wow.
And since that fateful night, the NBA has stayed very busy. There is a lot to catch up on, a ton of trades, and a few moves you may have missed. So let's dig in deep and talk about the wild and crazy 2025 trade deadline. This is one we won't be forgetting anytime soon. Of course, we have to talk about the biggest trade of the season. In fact, this could be the biggest NBA trade of all time. Just months after his first appearance in the finals, Luka Dončić of the Dallas Mavericks was sent to the Lakers in the dead of night. To call this a shock is an understatement. It wasn't a bomb. It was an atomic bomb. Right away, people were talking about the new dynasty in LA and what this means for the future of the Lakers and the Mavericks. Dallas got Anthony Davis and Max Christie, as well as a first-round draft pick. Not a bad haul, but really, for Luka Dončić, who could lead the league for the next 10 years, the Lakers really walked away with someone special here. You can bet all eyes will be on these two teams when they meet for the first time in a few weeks. People are going to be paying close attention. But the Lakers weren't done there. They said goodbye to Dalton Knecht and Cam Reddish in order to nab big man Mark Williams, who formerly played for the Charlotte Hornets. Will Williams play as well as Davis did? That remains to be seen, but he quite literally has huge shoes to fill. Well, they finally did it. The Chicago Bulls finally cut ties with Zach LaVine. After what feels like years, the Bulls traded LaVine away, and the two-time All-Star moved to the Sacramento Kings, who gave up De'Aaron Fox to the San Antonio Spurs. Meanwhile, the Bulls got Trey Jones and Zach Collins of the Spurs, as well as Kevin Huerter from the Kings. The Bulls are frankly kind of confusing. What are they doing here? While they did cut ties with LaVine after years of flirting with the idea, they didn't lean into the idea of a full-on rebuild like many people expected.
Ball to LaVine, showtime!
They still have Nikola Vucevic, Lonzo Ball, and others. So what are they planning and what's next? You should keep a close eye on Chicago because this trade proves they could be very busy this summer. As for the Kings, things could go either way for them. They now have LaVine and Jonas Valanciunas on their roster, but no longer have De'Aaron Fox. This could go well, or it could go very poorly. The last few weeks have been consumed with stories about former head coach Mike Brown, Fox's unhappiness with the team, and other ugly headlines. So you have to wonder if they committed this trade because they are just ready to move on. The only question is, what will they move on to? Now let's switch to the Eastern Conference, where the Miami Heat finally did something. It's done. It's finally done. Jimmy Butler is no longer a part of the Miami Heat. After what felt like a million years, Butler has been moved to another team and will now play with the Golden State Warriors. For their part, the Heat will get Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, PJ Tucker, Davion Mitchell, and a draft pick too. This was good news for the Heat because, well, they no longer have to worry about Jimmy and his demands. As for the Warriors, is this really the move they needed to make? Will he truly make a difference and help Golden State get back on track and reach the postseason? There are just so many questions here. Will Butler fit in well with Steve Kerr's plans? Can he play alongside Steph Curry, or will his style and skills be redundant? More importantly, will he be happy with Golden State, or will he grow sour with his new team and demand another trade down the line?
I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be able to play basketball again, meaningful basketball at that.
Jimmy is aging and expensive, so there is a lot of potential downside to him, especially after all the drama he just created in Miami. It kind of feels like the Warriors went this route because Butler is a big, proven name. But is he the right big, proven name? Time will tell if this was just Golden State freaking out and trying to make a big splash or a smart move. One thing is for sure, Pat Riley is definitely sleeping better now that Jimmy Butler is gone. Next, we have the Washington Wizards and Milwaukee Bucks, who changed their rosters in pretty substantial ways. Khris Middleton is no longer a Buck and will play ball in DC, while Kyle Kuzma has packed his bags and is headed to Milwaukee. Kuzma hasn't had the best season and has been shooting far worse than ever before, but the Bucks still believe in him, think he can bounce back, and believe he will add height and speed to the roster next to Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Off to Kuzma, Kyle Kuzma driving, there's your float game.
When Middleton came to the Wiz, some people thought he would only be there for maybe a few hours before being dealt to another team. But recent reporting has said Washington plans to hold on to him and get the most out of his expertise and experience. He has plenty of both, but he also has plenty of injuries in his past too. What are the chances that Middleton gets hurt again and doesn't contribute enough? Well, they're not slim. But Washington thinks it's worth the risk. They have a young and promising squad, and they think that Middleton will inject the right sort of energy and experience into them. Meanwhile, the Wizards also got Marcus Smart, AJ Johnson, and a few other players in draft picks. So things are looking a little bit better in DC, but after the season they've had, how could they be looking any worse? No one, and I mean no one, was surprised when Brandon Ingram left the New Orleans Pelicans this week. We all saw this one coming. Months ago, it was very clear that Ingram didn't want to be there anymore, so we were all just waiting to see what happened and where he went. He is headed north of the border and will now play for the Toronto Raptors, while the Pels will get Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, a first-round pick, and a second-rounder too. There was a little bit of a bidding war for Ingram, and it looked like the Atlanta Hawks were on the verge of stealing him away before the Pelicans and Raptors made their deal. If the Pelicans had committed a trade last year, they would have gotten a lot more for Ingram, but they sat on his contract and lowered his trade value. The truth is that a lot of other teams just don't want to commit to a free agent who wants an extension without proving himself. This trade will only create incremental change for the Pelicans, but they pretty much letting go of this horrid season and hoping that greater possibilities come along in the summer. But will it move the need for the Raptors? No, probably not that much. Finally, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Atlanta Hawks. A lot of people thought the Cavaliers wouldn't do anything by the deadline, and really? Why should they? They have the best record in the Eastern Conference and haven't played this well in years. Some people thought they might make minor changes, just a small tweak with a bench star. Instead, they really swung for the fences and walked away with DeAndre Hunter, formerly of the Atlanta Hawks. For Hunter, they had to send away Karis LeVert, Georges Niang, 2 first-round swaps, and 3 second-rounders. Hunter is a killer on the court, averaging 19 points on a 61.6 true shooting percentage. Those are career bests for him. Plus, he can be a beast on defense too. It's actually kind of shocking that the Hawks were willing to let him go when he was doing so well. Of course, there is a chance this could mess with Cleveland's great chemistry and culture. They have built a brotherhood in the locker room, but if it doesn't, this could make them better on both ends of the court, and that is a very scary thought. Plus, the Cavs just got themselves under the tax line with this trade, which will help them in the offseason and future. You have to wonder about the Hawks though. With their recent injuries and trades, some people wonder if they are on the verge of blowing things up and starting over from scratch. Hunter is gone, but will Trae Young be far behind? And with that, the 2025 NBA trade season comes to an end, and now we get to sit back and enjoy the rest of the season. Which team did the best, and who fell short? The next few months will be very telling, and of course very exciting too. But hey, that's just my take. We want to hear from you too. Leave a comment and let us know what impresses you most about Thompson's game. Will the Mavs win championship now with AD? Will Warriors work with Jimmy Butler on the team? And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're always breaking down the biggest stories and trends in the NBA, and you won't want to miss our future videos. And hey, while you're at it, smash that bell icon too. That way you'll be notified as soon as we drop new content. Trust me, with how quickly things change in the NBA, you'll want to stay up to date.